Hi, I'm Stefanie Mosca. I'm here at IT Expo Austin 2012, and I'm joined today on the show by Nancy Maluso, VP and GM of Communication Applications for Sonus Networks. Thanks so much for being here today, Nancy. How are you?
I'm great, Stefanie. Thanks. I'm happy to be here. It's been an exciting show.
Awesome. So before we get into the show, why don't we just talk a little bit about who the company is and what you guys are kind of doing in the market right now?
Sonus Networks is all about enabling communications. Right now, we're very focused on enabling UC in the cloud. That's a key takeaway from the show this week, actually, is people aren't saying when to the cloud, it's how to the cloud. Mm-hmm. And so we do that. We've been expert at providing interworking in the network for a long time, first with trunking and gateway products, but most recently with session border controllers, SBCs. We have a broad portfolio, the broadest portfolio in the market, and we're enabling people to effectively do SIP-based communications. And by effectively, I mean with transcoding and interworking capability, as well as security and things of that nature. So that's basically what we're doing. And we recently announced this week at the show our Sonus Harmony architecture, which has a session management component in it. And our Sonus Session Manager also enables that interworking. In this case, interworking between the access elements and the applications that are in the cloud, and really enabling those applications to be delivered seamlessly to any access element, whether it's a PBX or a Lynx solution or a BroadSoft solution. It doesn't really matter what the base telephony platform is. Session Manager enables that interworking between the application and those underlying components.
And I had a chance to stop by the booth and really get the demonstration of how everything works. Could you explain a little bit more about how Harmony really helps to go over the top in terms of connecting these applications and making them work?
Sure. So in the traditional sense, when you want to bring an application into your environment, okay, let's say the rage right now is mobility. Everybody needs a mobility solution. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a PBX, let's say you have an Avaya PBX or a Cisco PBX, you could buy a mobility solution from that vendor. And that's great. But if you have an Avaya and a Cisco, you have to buy an Avaya solution from Avaya and a Cisco solution from Cisco. So you're supporting now two platforms and two applications. And while underlying PBX platforms, they've been installed for a while and they work fine, to rip those out to get a single PBX platform in an environment is not something people really want to do. But as they look at bringing in new applications like from the cloud, and they're saying, well, I don't want to bring in two versions of the same application, so how do I effectively do that? And so what we do is, because we're independent of the application and we're independent of the access layer, we're not trying to sell either one. We love them all. We provide that interworking layer. And it's a little bit more than just interworking like you would get from an SBC. So session management takes a request from a PBX and normalizes the request so that applications can consume it. For example, if the PBX expects a notify as the command to turn on message waiting indication, but the voicemail application sends a subscribe command, you have to normalize that. Sure. So you could either do it by modifying the application or modifying the PBX. What we do is we make that modification in the middle layer. The other thing we can do is use policy. So we can set policy that says, ooh, I want to bring in a recording application whenever the user is a broker. And so you can set rules based on the users or the applications to say, let me bring in an application based on those rules. Mm-hmm. Instead of setting the rules in the PBX or setting the rules in the application, you can do it in the middle. And so you can start setting up rules for multiple applications across all of your PBXs in your environment. And 66% of all enterprises have more than one PBX.
Sure. Now, obviously, cloud is really, a buzz term right now in the industry, and especially at the show this week. Can you tell us a little bit about, Sonus obviously has a really big presence at the show. What are you getting out of it in terms of, what all of the other companies are doing and the cloud in general?
So it's interesting. We all want to take advantage of other people's expertise and economies of scale. And what the cloud delivered services do is allows us to leverage the expertise that a service provider has or a particular application company has and consume it in usable ways. So Sonus ourselves, internally to our organization, we use a lot of cloud-based applications. And it means that when I'm on the road, I can access them from anywhere. I don't have to do VPN tunnels or anything like that. There's a secure way to get there. And so what Sonus is working to facilitate is that secure access and that policy that says, how do I go about consuming those cloud-based services? So we provide technology to both service providers who are delivering those cloud-based applications, as well as to the enterprises who consume it. So at both ends, helping to facilitate those connections between the users and the cloud application in a secure way.
Great. Well, I mean, you guys obviously have had a lot of success over the last year, so best of
Thank
luck to you.
I really appreciate it. Great show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for being here today, Nancy.
You're welcome.